Right, well, we've clicked over 9:30, so welcome to this policy PP21-5. I'll call for apologies. We have one from Kevin Marsh, and I presume we take the others as lateness, Barbara.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
A mover, Anne Henry, seconded James Denyer. Put that, all those in favour, please say aye. Against, no, carried. I declare that. We have no late items. I don't think there's any declarations of interest. No, everybody's there. We haven't got anybody in the public forum. So we move straight to the agenda proper. The first item is 9.1, elder housing operational. This is basically just to approve what we've already gone through. But are there any questions of Jody before we go any further? James, we have a question from you.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify one of the delegations in the recommendations is the ability to negotiate tenancies with community housing providers. Can you perhaps explain why that would be needed?
Do you want to cover that, Jody, or do you want me to cover it?
If you'd want to.
No,
Gary, that's fine.
You go. It's a historic agreement we've got with one of the housing trusts, but Jody, you might want to clarify a bit more.
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, we had an historic agreement with Tauranga Community Housing Trust around making available in certain circumstances tenancies to the Community Housing Trust. So we still have a really strong working relationship with Tauranga Community Housing Trust, in particular in Te Puke. There is a network that our tenancy managers are a part of. And it's really just about being able to work together as needed to get the right people into accommodation when they need it. So we just wanted to be able to have that flexibility there.
Great, thank you.
It's also a bit of a backstop, James, that in the event we can't fill it ourselves, we could possibly go elsewhere. So it's a really, it's a last resort option. Right, any other questions anybody might have? Margaret, you've got a question?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like to know, Jody, is there sufficient support for our residents when there is someone who has a mental problem and starts to be difficult? How do you cope with that? Have we got the right supports in place to help them?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. We so our policy criteria is that, or eligibility criteria is that people have to be able to live independently. Generally, what happens is when they stop being able to do that, it is usually because of mental incapacity as opposed to physical incapacities. We do have really good relationships with the Baupini DHB to manage those situations and to have those tenants assessed and be able to transition them from our elder housing into retirement homes or special care facilities as needed. And we've made sure that our eligibility criteria enables us to do that. And we have no obligations to be housing people who are essentially beyond the ability to be able to live independently.
Right, another question from Anne Henry.
Oh, this is for you, Jody. I can't remember when we did that breakdown of when we were looking at our housing, and while we have got some issues from time to time with people about needing to be moved out, that does take quite a bit of our staffing component. And was that factored into our financials when we first looked at the model?
Well, I can answer that. There's an overhead component in there, and it's based on what historically it has taken us to run these things. So unless there's some trends where it's varying away from historical trend lines, we pretty much stick with what we've done in the past. Any other questions? There doesn't seem to be any. These recommendations there, recommendations 1 to 5. Do I have a mover and a seconder, please? Anne Henry and Margaret. I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, no. I declare that carried. Thank you very much. We now move to 9.2, approval to commence a review of the Western Bay of Plenty Operative District Plan. Again, I presume, Rachel, you'll be taking this one?
Yeah, Gary, you're aware that this is a reasonably pro forma step required by the RMA. If there are any questions arising from this report, I would respectfully direct those through to Natalie Rutland, who is on our Zoom this morning.
All right. But Murray, you have a question. You're on mute still.
Right. I think we've canvassed this fairly thoroughly, and as Rachel's already said, it's something we have to do under law. I'm happy to move the motion.
Right, thanks. Well, I'll hold that, Murray, at this stage. I have a question from Alan Soul and one from John Scrimger.
Yeah, right. Mine basically is a couple of things. When are we due to review this again? Is it around about a 7-year period?
Rachel will cover that off.
Every 10 years, we are required to review our district plan, Alan.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, the other question basically is, have we got sufficient provision in there for community boards and communities to take stronger, an active role in this? I say it because obviously
with all due respect, that's not part of the district plan. That's part of the representation review.
Right. Okay. I just feel that Waihi Beach needs to be perhaps looked at, as do maybe other communities, not with a one-size-fits-all.
Sorry, Alan. This is the district plan review. This is not a Waihi Beach review.
No, correct.
Right. Thanks. John Scrimger.
Yes, I just wanted to make a comment rather than a question to say that this is something we're required to do. It may well be that events overtake us in terms of whatever happens around local government review and those sort of things, and RMA review. But I think it's something we need to do, and we should make haste slowly. And so if Murray was happy to move it, I'm happy to second.
Right. Well, one more question from Margaret. Margaret.
Thank you for that. I just, there's a lot wanting to, 10 years is a long time to wait to have to review it. And I think I would say that the sooner we can do that, the better it is. And we don't have to wait for any new legislation to come through, do we, Rachel?
No, we don't, Margaret. And to the point that Councillor Scrimger made a moment ago, which was make haste slowly. Of course, you are aware that you are all collectively aware that the plan that we have workshopped with you for this district plan review proposes exactly that. So to take a short planning horizon of 6-month steps at a time to ensure that we keep aligned with the RMA reform that is proposed. But at this point in time, the legislation still requires us to undertake a substantive district plan review. The final point that I'd like to make, Margaret, Councillor Murray-Benj rather, to the point you made around it's an awful long time to wait. Of course, that doesn't preclude us, and hasn't in the past, from making plan changes when we need to. So we definitely still do have that ability as well.
I think, well, it appears there's no further questions. We have the recommendations 1 to 3 moved by Murray, seconded by John Scrimger. I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, no. I declare that carried. Thank you very much. The last point, 9.3, is submission on behalf of council. This has already gone, so it's basically just a pro forma thing we have to do. But are there any questions anyone may have? It appears not. Well, I'll move recommendations 1 and 2. Do I have a seconder, please? John Scrimger, thank you very much. I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, no. I declare that carried. And as there's no information for receipt, that's the end of our meeting. Thank you very much for your attendance. And I presume